Welcome, everybody. It is a special edition here on Twitch of our Talking Death series. And we're going to unpack the craziness.
Oh, man, the insanity.
That is Avengers Endgame. And if you guys are just joining the broadcast, just to preface this, if you haven't seen the movie, go away.
Leave.
Yeah.
Go home. Go back to work.
This live stream will be available on YouTube later on. So after you see the movie, definitely check it out. But we're going to be
spoiler heavy, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to talk all stuff.
All spoilers.
All spoilers. All
Fan theory.
Avengers.
So if you have not seen it, turn it off now. Get out while you still can because
Yes.
we have a lot to unpack and we're going to talk about it all. So.
And if this is your first time joining our stream, I am the Incredible Jeff. And did we go with Captain Chelsea?
I think Captain Chelsea is what we're going to go with.
I like that.
I like it.
I like that too.
I'm excited.
Yeah, Flanagan, you're getting us right off on the right foot here. Spoiler alert, it made all the money. All the money. $1.2 billion in its opening weekend.
It's in history, right?
In history.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's incredible about this movie is not just the money it pulled in, it's that it pulled in fandoms from all over the world.
Yes.
Everybody saw this movie. It is the event, the movie-going event of our lifetime. This is our Star Wars.
Star Wars, for sure.
It really is. And it's exciting that we all got to experience it together. And if you saw it over the weekend, you probably had some of the same experiences that we're going to talk about as well. I do want to say, make sure if you are just following us on Twitch right now and just maybe lurking out there, join Twitch. It's free to join and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff here on Twitch. We have another version of this Talking Death show that Shannon and I do, the mother of content.
The mother of content.
Every single Monday, we recap the final seasons of Game of Thrones. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. We're going to do a cooking show.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yeah. What? We're going to do a comic book centric show.
Yes.
And then obviously we're going to be streaming games because we're a bunch of gamers over here. So we're going to be doing all sorts of really cool stuff. And follow us on social media. Yep. Follow Deathwish Coffee across all platforms at Deathwish Coffee. And follow Fueled by Deathcast for all of this content at Fueled by Deathcast. Okay, I got all that out of the way. Let's get into it.
Follow, subscribe.
Yeah.
Get on our subscription list. Get all the inside merch, all
of it.
Goings on here at Deathwish.
All of it.
It takes 5 seconds to subscribe and a lot of good content that we put out. Not just Jeff, but the whole Deathwish team. So get on that.
Yes, Flanagan cooking. I'm going to talk to you about it for sure. I want to make this happen. So we have a lot to unpack with this movie. It is the culmination of 21 films, 11 years in the Marvel Comics universe.
2008.
And they did a lot of timey-wimey stuff, to coin a Doctor Who term.
Oh, there will be several Doctor Who terms we'll be putting throughout the show. I'm glad you kicked it off with that because...
It's the truth, though. But in true fashion of this program that we've been putting out, Talking Death, we're going to start with the Death Wish death list. And we're going to run down the deaths from Avengers Endgame. So again, this is your final warning. If you haven't seen the movie, you're going to spoil it all right now. So first and foremost, let's start off with one of the lesser deaths of the movie, 2014's Nebula.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is right off the bat where the timey-wimey stuff gets a little weird. We go back. We go back in time to meet her, and then her future self kills her.
And I can't. Like, this is my question for you that I have written down. Like, so she kills her past self in another timeline, right?
Right.
So what happened to Nebula? Like that question wasn't resolved. They don't tell us what happened.
It was not resolved.
They just end it down in that cavern.
Basically, and we'll reference this a couple times in the movie, you probably remember the scene where the Oracle, Tilda Swinton, is talking to Hulk and is explaining if you move one piece out of a timeline, you basically destroy that timeline and change it forever, and that's why you'd have to reinitiate those pieces. Now, we took Nebula out of that 2014 timeline, brought her into 2023, which is the end of Endgame, and killed her. But the thing is that timeline that they took her from still technically should have been the timeline that ended up where we ended up, with Nebula being there. Lots of timey-wimey stuff. And I love that in this movie they actually even brought up Back to the Future. And like, are you going to go with Back to the Future rules?
Back to the Future shit. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts, and the fact that she was in it. She didn't even have, like, I mean, we're talking timey-wimey. She's the one who's arguing the logic of time
Right.
theory, and like she's not even like saying a lot, but because of her Doctor Who connection, because of who she is, I love that scene, and I love that they're like, no, this is how we're gonna do it, and audience accept this is how time travel works.
Exactly.
I thought it was very well done.
And I gotta say, seeing Nebula come on the screen back in Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, oh, that's a cool B-list character. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy themselves are B-list characters, but Nebula also is just this
secondary villain,
and I was like, oh, cool, we saw her. And then they brought her back, and I was like, oh wow, we see her again. And then they keep bringing her back.
The movie kind of hinges on her and her
her
decisions,
future and past
her
self
arc,
linking.
Yeah. So like I was very surprised that she took on such a leadership role in this film, and how much of the film hinged on who she became, who she decided like I'm not doing this for Thanos anymore. I want to do this because I deserve this type of world.
It is true. JJ Joe is saying that your mic has issues. I'm gonna just pump it up.
Yeah, fix that for me. I got lots to say about Nebula, about Black Widow, about the one, the only Tony Stark, R.I.P.
R.I.P. And we'll get there too. I did want to mention though, the one scene that was really interesting with past and future Nebula is when past Nebula, masquerading as future Nebula, picks up the Infinity Gauntlet with the Infinity Stones in it. That is directly from the comics. Actually,
it is.
She wore it during the Infinity Saga, and Thanos had to band together with the Avengers to take her down.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, it became crazy. Read comic books, people. It's amazing. It's amazing stuff in there. So that was a cool little nod to us comic fans, as all of that happened. But another death from this movie, the one that, was really out of left field that got everybody kind of, it put the stakes even higher, was, of course, Black Widow.
Black Widow's death.
What were your feelings about that?
Like, okay, I mean, her whole character in that movie, I felt like she was just sad. Like, she was the one who was like, let's keep going. Let's keep fighting. She's not going to give it up. But, like, her death, did it have to be her? Could it have been Hawkeye? I mean, we know why, like, Hawkeye may have been the right choice. He after those 5 years, he became somebody who was just out for vengeance. He was just like, I need to kill. This is what I know to do. My family's gone. But I wanted another fight. I needed her to do one kick-ass fight scene.
Yeah.
Before that, I needed a little hype. I really needed to, like, fall back in love with her, which is Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
I am in love with you. But I thought it was well done, but I wanted more from her.
Yeah,
from her
I
character.
like, especially in this sequence that you see her right there. I like her in the future.
That's the best scene she's in, I think.
She's ruling the Avengers. She's like keeping the peace. She's making sure things are still in line.
Grasping at straws, though, to do so.
She's doing her best, but she is, she's come full circle from someone who was a spy and had a lot of red in her ledger, as she said. And now she's like doing good, and she feels like she's doing good. She feels like she has his family, and that's what she gave up. She sacrificed herself to get her family back, and I get that.
Right.
I understand that, but what really bothered me about that is we don't have the gravity as other characters that we've seen with other characters.
Yes.
And we are getting an origin story. Can't
wait for that. This is so freaking good. I love her backstory. And which one? When we actually see her.
When we actually see it, Civil War.
Yeah, that little teaser. Ooh, that was so well done.
Or no, maybe it was Avengers Age of Ultron.
I think it's Age of Ultron.
But anyway, like, we're going to see a lot more of that, which is good, and it's going to put more weight on this sequence of her dying. Which is.
So do you think they did it for shock value? Because I think Hawkeye was like everyone could see the logic and reason.
Yeah, I think they did it for shock value. They obviously mirrored Gamora dying in the same instance, but I felt more attached to Gamora when that happened than when it was playful. Hawkeye and Black Widow were kind of playing back and forth, and it just didn't. The stakes didn't seem as high. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I was. It was a poignant moment. I'm sad she's dead.
Yes,
I like that she sacrificed herself for the greater good.
Absolutely.
I'm sad she didn't have a funeral.
Oh my God. I was thinking.
It's just a bunch of dudes hanging around like near the lake talking about her. Like, it wasn't even like a funeral. Like, I know she's a spy.
Yeah, but then because then we do a whole Tony Stark funeral scene and we don't see any type of memorial for her. And then, they're talking about her by the, like, looking over the, like, yeah, she's thinking about us.
Yeah, but
But yeah, I was upset about that. That inequality.
I wanted to bring up this scene from the trailer of her, in the shooting range and putting a new clip in the gun and everything like that. Wasn't in the movie. So
there's a few.
Was there moments that we missed with Black Widow that made the cutting room floor? And I understand that from an editing standpoint. We all sat through a 3-hour movie. I get that.
Yeah.
But would it have helped a little bit maybe to see more of her? I don't know. I don't know where that answer is.
So can we still, I don't want to leave this death scene just quite yet because I need to understand a little bit better, I guess, the Soul Stone and like what can and cannot happen with it. So in order to achieve the Soul Stone, do you have to sacrifice something you love and care and value for?
Yep.
So if, they're like, I'm going to die. No, I'm going to die. If she was just to run and he would not have stopped her, would the Soul Stone have appeared, or do you have to?
I believe so because again, she was sacrificing her ability to be with her family to get her family back.
Okay.
The Avengers. So in that respect, she could sacrifice herself, and the Soul Stone would appear to Hawkeye because he was standing there.
So in the end, because she kicks
weird.
off the wall, he kind of drops her.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what happened. Did she kick off?
She kicked off.
Okay, it wasn't him dropping her.
No,
was it both?
He was trying to get her, and she kicked off and got out of the grip.
Oh man, and then the fact that they showed the scene of her laying there.
Yeah.
That was like...
And here's the two things that doesn't make sense in timey-wimey stuff for me, and maybe you guys have a better handle on this. One, now we know at the end, and we'll get to the end of the movie when we get there, but at the end of the movie, Cap goes back and takes all the stones and puts them back where they're supposed to be, right?
Right.
So first of all, Cap had to go put that stone back. That should mean that Black Widow would exist in that line, right? She can't come back, but if the Soul Stone comes back, then her sacrifice didn't matter, correct? Or is he putting it back after she died? And the second part about this that is nobody's talking about, if Cap had to go back and put the Soul Stone back, I want to see that interaction between Cap and Red Skull.
Oh, yeah, right?
Like, this is like Hawkeye and Black Widow didn't even know that was the Red Skull.
This guy.
They said some red guy.
Yeah, some red guy.
Some creepy, floaty red guy, right?
I love that.
So Cap was walking in blind, going there to return this stone, and then being inundated with the Red Skull again. That would have been incredible. That would have been. I want to see. Trish said it the best when we left the movie. She was like, "I want to see the movie of Cap returning all the stones to all the different places.
Right.
That's a whole other movie I want to see."
Did they put the kibosh on Cap with this, or like?
He's done.
Oh, really?
Yep. Chris Evans is out. So I knew that going into this movie. Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. both their contracts were up.
Okay.
So I knew there was going to be something that was going to happen.
Right.
Whether a death or whether wherever. But it's just a little bit weird.
Yeah, no, that is a spin-off series that I want to see, or I want to see him returning those stones. I want to see that. I want to see that decision where he's just like, no, why would I go back to 2019?
Right.
Like I want to see him. I want to see him win. Yeah. I want to see all those wins.
And it wasn't 2019. This is 2023 that we're in right now because of the five-year time jump. So we're actually in the future in Avengers in the Marvel Comics universe.
Love it.
Which is confusing in and of itself. The big death, obviously, is our man right here, Mr. Tony Stark. And by the way, shout out to Sideshow Collectibles for this incredible Mark 42 from Iron Man 3, which I thought was very fitting to have here, too, because there's a lot of throwbacks to Iron Man 3 with that kid in the funeral scene. Oh, my God.
Like, that was it. Like, that when the, lights came on, me and my friends were all like, who the hell was that kid?
Right?
And I was like, oh, it's a kid, from Iron Man. We're like, what?
Yeah.
So questions are: is he gonna rock the suit? Is he gonna take it on?
Maybe.
What do you guys think?
Maybe. I did want to bring up this vision right here. This is what kicks it all off. This is from Age of Ultron when he has his mind screwed with the Scarlet Witch, and Tony is haunted by this image, and we actually have a broken shield Cap at the bottom there, and all of the Avengers are dead and laying across the ground, and he's been haunted by this forever, and it finally came true. And I thought it was one of the better writing points of how they buttoned all of that together in Endgame. We've been riding with Tony since 2008.
Right.
We've seen his story arc go from this guy who doesn't give a shit about anybody to really making the ultimate sacrifice at the end. And when Strange put up his one finger there at the end, it was like, this is it. He saw it. I thought that was an amazing moment to really catch.
And, the screenwriters, they just did a really good interview in the New York Times where they kind of have Iron Man and they have Captain America and how they are mirror images of one another, where Iron Man changes from this self-interested, self-motivated to a selfless character, and then Cap, on the other hand, starts making decisions that are self-motivated to stay in the past. You know, to have a happier life.
To have a
and
life,
to see
period.
those perils. To have a life,
This throws it back to Avengers 1, this incredible
There we go.
sequence between Tony and Cap when, you know, basically Steve's like, you're a big man in a suit and armor, we'll take that off, what are you? And he's like, the line, billionaire philanthropist, genius. And Steve says, and I'll quote it, he says, I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you. And Tony says, I would just cut the wire. And that's like the rift of them right there. And that rift continues through the rest of the movies into Civil War, breaks in Civil War, and we don't get the resolution until Endgame.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think they probably have the best dynamic. With that said, I think of all the characters, all the pairs that we see, I think they're the funnest ones to watch. Maybe just because it is so obvious.
Yeah.
We know what Captain America is going to respond, and we know how Iron Man is going to respond. But then when they flip it, when they do well, and when they do work together, oh man, does it work, and does it work well?
Well, I have to say, as a fan of the series, as a fan of the MCU, I think that Tony's death was done very well.
Oh, yes.
It was very well paced. It was very well put out throughout all of these movies. And it was very fitting to start the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe with Tony Stark in 2008 and to end this phase and this Infinity Saga with him.
And I totally agree. And I love, the last line of the first Iron Man is him. He's at that press conference and he just goes, I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then his last line in Endgame was, I am Iron Man.
Yeah, it's really great.
Oh.
And it was also his choice. I read this, the Russo brothers were talking about during his death scene, they gave the choice to Robert Downey Jr. if he wanted to play with that scene and say something to Pepper or say something to Spider-Man at the very end there, and he chose to be silent.
I love that.
And I like that because he had already said it all. And we got that great little hologram that also made me cry.
No, yeah. I think his death made me, like, Gwyneth Paltrow fucking acted the shit out of that, and it was just, no.
I'm not a fan.
I go back and I mean, she really cried. I don't know.
Yeah, She did, but I'm just not.
I thought she was more mournful than Peter Parker.
True.
Which makes sense.
They got their hug,
I think he's normally the better actor, Peter Parker. Or
True.
what's
Tom
the actor?
Holland.
Yeah. But
yeah.
that was it. That was that moment when she was saying goodbye. I was like,
yeah.
And my whole theater was silent. Like the theater I was in, I was packed theater. There was no more seats left, and the entire audience was holding their breath. It was incredible.
Ryan on Twitch brought up a good point. Can we talk about the fact that scene was an homage to Stan Lee in a way? And it definitely was. Marvel put a lot of thought behind how they're going to make tributes to Stan and what they're going to do about that. And even before Stan died, they had written the idea of Tony dying in Endgame and how it was going to play out. And it was an homage to this overarching idea, the idea that Stan and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and these others have created. And so as Stan is an embodiment of Marvel Comics, it was like Tony was embodying that as well in this moment, which was incredible. And so it became even more poignant after Stan died to really play out that scene in that way, which I think is amazing.
Do you want to talk about the Stan cameo?
Sure, we can go there right now. Stan cameo was great because it was in the 70s. He is a staunch, I guess, let's say, usurper of authority. Stan loved doing that kind of stuff. So for him to drive by an army base and be like,
wait, what was it? What was the line?
I forget what he said.
It was love not war.
Love not
war.
What
was the line? Or something like that. Yeah.
And it was really, really rad. And to see, I gotta say, the de-aging technology that's happening on screen is incredible.
Yeah.
He looked just like Stan.
Yes.
It was great.
And we can get more into that later because there are a few
Love,
other
Not
ones.
War. That's
what it was.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, no, I really like it. Is that okay? Personal question then. What is your favorite Stan cameo of all?
Excuse me, are you Tony Stank? That's my favorite Stan cameo.
Yeah. I like, my favorite one is when they're drinking and he's with all the veterans.
Excelsior.
Yeah.
He drinks
like
the Thor stuff.
Oh my God. He's like, I can handle it.
Oh, so good. Yeah, Stan, you'll be missed for sure. And I do want to get back to Tony real quick.
Yeah.
We did mention this earlier, and just for what you guys think out there, do you think this kid's going to be Iron Man? The kid from Iron Man 3, he showed up at the funeral. Was it just a throwaway, cameo? Was it something to do with alluding to it? We are definitely, let me put it this way. In the Marvel Comics universe, in the cinematic universe, in the future, we will get Iron Man back.
Hell
the
yeah.
comics have done it where Tony has either died or retired, or when he was an alcoholic, he stopped being Iron Man for a while. And other people have been Iron Man. War Machine, Jarvis, who is an actual butler.
Oh my God.
Vision.
I didn't know that. I feel like an idiot for not knowing that. I was like, oh, of course. When Jarvis had that cameo.
Oh, right, from Agent Carter.
So flipping good.
He was Iron Man in the comics. Pepper Potts, who showed up as Rescue, she's been Iron Man. And there's been even newer characters that have been Iron Man. So we will get an Iron Man. Will it be this kid? Maybe. He left him the workshop. He did, Iron Man 3 was pretty pivotal, and that would make that movie that much more meaningful moving into the future. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the way we're going to go with it or not. Also, did I have one last thing? Oh, yeah. If you guys stayed through the end, there was no after-credits sequence, but I thought this was really great. At the very end of the credits, there was a polished metal Avengers logo, and you just heard the clang of a hammer on an anvil.
So you think it's that?
It was. They've said it literally is the sound clip from Iron Man 1 of him hitting metal and making that original suit, because it's full circle, and that gives me chills. That's attention to detail in the most subtle of ways.
Heck yeah.
I think I just thought that was really rad the way they did that.
Absolutely.
To button up our death list here, finally, the big man himself, who died twice.
Happy about it every time.
Right?
The first one, I
was like, wait. This is a 3-hour movie, right? Like, this just happened. Like, what do we do now?
Right when they found him so easily and everything, I was just like, okay, cool. This is gonna be it. Maybe they're gonna work together. Maybe they'll time travel with him. Because I'm like, but nope. It was just Thor's. I went for the head.
I like that, because Thor was just. I like that we got this PTSD with Thor.
Oh heck yeah!
Like, he realizes that he is the god of thunder. Out of everybody that is on the Avengers, out of everybody that was fighting that final battle, he went to this special place to get this special weapon made to come and win the day, and he failed.
Right.
And he's beating himself up for it.
Yeah.
And that's why, without hesitation, he decapitates him there. And I thought that was a great scene. And there was a lot in that scene that was indicative right from the comics, like his armor as a scarecrow there.
Love that.
Which was absolutely amazing. And it was, I think that death, coupled with the death at the end, with Tony getting the stones, being able to snap his fingers, and wiping out all of Thanos and his army, is a very fitting death for this incredibly omnipotent, crazy supervillain.
And I was saying this last night, I think he might be my favorite supervillain because of his motivations, because of his rationale and his logic. He's not fueled by rage or pain or anger. He has a vision, and he's going to achieve it. And you can see every step of his plan. Like, I cannot even speak. The delivery of every line is just so powerful.
It really is.
That grainy voice that the actor
Josh Brolin
fucking has is just like,
so good.
This is what I'm gonna do. And I'm going to win. Like, there's not a shadow of a doubt in mind that Thanos is going to kick ass.
I do want to bring up, just like I saw on Twitch right here, that is timey-wimey stuff again. We took a past version of Thanos and killed him, so how does this new timeline still exist because he wasn't there to make it happen? Right? It's some weird stuff, and it kind of, if you start to wrap your brain around it, it sort of makes sense, but not really. And you know what? That's comic books. Again, if you guys aren't fans of comic books, go to your local comic shop. It's free comic book day this Saturday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What?
And go to your local comic book shop and start reading comics, because this stuff and more happens. The most craziest stuff in the world happens in comics, and the reasoning is always just comics. To jump across the aisle there, one of my favorite moments in a DC book, there is this entire overarching event that happens in DC, and I won't get into the schematics of it, but it ends with Superman punching a hole in time.
Oh my God.
Right? Comic books. It's amazing. So I mean, like, we can just, we can try to wrap our brains around it, but at the end of the day, we watched a comic book come to life.
Hell yeah.
And thankfully, we watched it because of this man
Dun, dun.
right here, Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin is the creator of Thanos. He's the creator of Gamora and Drax, Shang-Chi, tons of stuff in the comics universe. He actually killed Robin in the Batman universe for a while. Yeah. He did so much stuff. And if you want to hear more from Jim, actually, we had Jim Starlin right on our own podcast.
That was a great one.
Talking about creating Thanos, talking about getting into the comic book industry. I was actually thinking about maybe replaying that interview with Jim right here on Twitch in a future.
Ooh, that'd be a good idea, I think.
Stream.
Do you guys want
to be able to?
Let us know.
Interact in the comments.
Because, that was really, really good, poignant interview. I really enjoyed that one.
And the last time I saw Jim was for a local Comic-Con, and it was right after Infinity War came out. And I asked him straight up, I was like, what are your thoughts on Brolin? What are your thoughts on the character? And he's like, I'm so happy with it. They invited me to set.
Okay.
And he's like, I got to see Josh, emote as Thanos. And he's like, I really, really was happy with it. And he's like, and I really like what the Russo brothers are doing, and it was really cool. And then he stopped himself. And this was a year ago.
Okay.
And he was just like, I've almost already said too much. And I was like, oh, yeah? What kind of secrets you got, Jim? And he's like, look, literally, I've got more NDAs that I've signed than anything. And he's like, I don't want the mouse coming after me.
The mouse?
Because Disney will come after you. So basically, he was just like, I'll be able to tell you down the road.
Oh, I love that.
And it was from this movie. He was in the movie.
Oh my! That made
got
me
a cameo.
so happy.
How cool is that? In the scene where Captain America is sitting around with people and everybody's trying to deal with the aftermath of Infinity War 5 years later. Jim got a scene there. But
and there's another cameo in there.
One of the Russo brothers,
there we
one
go.
of the directors, which was really great.
Yeah.
But Jim not only got to be in the scene, but got a line.
Right.
Which is a big deal.
Hell yeah.
I mean, to get a line in a movie, and especially the
you
highest grossing movie in the world. That
flipping wild.
Made me so happy. So happy to see Jim in the movie. And he's been doing so much press.
Yeah.
Follow Jim Starlin on all social media.
Platforms,
because he's been doing a lot of press and talking about the movie, talking about his experience, talking about creating these characters, and it's just, he is great. He's so great, and we love him here at Death Wish. And maybe I'll get him even back on the show. We'll get him back as a round two.
That'd be amazing.
And talk some more stuff. So as we keep going, guys, tell us some of your favorite moments. We're going to get into some of our favorite moments. We're going to try to unpack some of this timey-wimey stuff. I'll try to keep going as we go. I want to mention, I got a comment on Twitch right now saying that in that scene with Cap being like the leader of that support group, he was doing Sam's job. We immediately met Sam Wilson doing that in
first scene. That scene he was ever in.
Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Civil War. Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So many movies. They're all up here, all jumbled around. I'm trying. So basically, the absurdity of time travel is crazy enough, but what's even crazier is to come out with and say that they're going to not only do an Ant-Man movie, not only introduce Pym particles, which are almost magic in themselves, but everything becomes that much more poignant because we are introduced to the quantum realm in Ant-Man 1. And they told us when that movie came out, when Ant-Man went subatomic,
right.
went into that realm, they were like, we just opened the door to something that is going to change the entire cinematic universe.
So here's what did you think about Ant-Man, though, and his character as a whole? Because I don't know. Like, do you think they made him too much of the comedy, or do you think he had a good kind of balance between like having a serious role and being the lighthearted superhero?
I think he had a good balance.
I think so as well.
I think the way that they're utilizing Ant-Man, especially Scott Lang, Hank Pym is the original Ant-Man in the comics, and he was also one of the original Avengers. I like that they kind of made it farther in the future where Hank has done his own stuff as Ant-Man. We even got a cameo of the original Ant-Man helmet.
Oh my god, I was so
70s,
excited! Yeah, when I saw that on the
rad.
table. Yeah.
But to have Scott Lang, this thief turned superhero, be this character, and Paul Rudd be the actor who's doing it.
He's so fucking good in that role.
He is all of us. He's the everyman in this.
Right.
One of my favorite scenes is from Civil War when he comes out of the van and he goes, "I know you. You're Captain America," and like that is literally the audience going, "Captain America!"
Right, yeah.
Like, it really is. So I think that they're utilizing him pretty well.
Yes, I don't disagree, and I was really happy with it.
I gotta say this though.
What?
Speaking of comic books, they've set her up now through both AntMan movies and now in Endgame. They've set up his daughter, Cassie, who's now older and a teenager.
Oh, okay. I think that's the first time I cried. Oh no, when everyone started bringing it up. That was my first cry when he saw her, and he was just like ringing the doorbell and banging.
Couldn't believe it.
Oh, I couldn't. I was really happy.
Now, Cassie in the comics is this person right here. She is Stature. She stole his Pym particles and became part of what was considered in the comic books a team of superheroes called the Young Avengers for a while. And you can imagine they're a bunch of, offspring of Avengers and other things like that. But she is still in the books today. So are we getting set up for her to be a superhero?
Like a duo, you think? Or
maybe. At the end, we definitely saw
have a few.
Ant-Man and the Wasp and Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas and the daughter all hanging out together.
Yeah. I know. I mean, they are moving the chessboard in a way that we can see a Young Avengers. Was Hawkeye's daughter, is she part of that series?
No, but here's the setup on that. And I did notice some of the comments talking about how the first time people cried was with Hawkeye's family too. What a beat to start this movie
love
off.
how that started right there. I think that was an excellent way to start.
And I think it was an excellent way to start. I was talking about this before we started recording today, actually, that I can't wait, and I'm sure you guys are saying the same thing, I can't wait to sit down some Saturday in the future and watch Infinity War and Endgame back to back, because what's really cool about that whole Hawkeye scene is watching Endgame, you're like, wow, this movie's starting on a downer and a really slow beat, but it's coming directly out of Thanos snapping everybody away. So it's like, it's that downward momentum of like, oh God, everybody's dusting. Oh God, everything is the worst. And the last thing you get is Captain America holding his head in the hands going, oh God.
Right. Yeah.
And then we open up with Hawkeye. So it's a perfect downbeat that brings us back up. And I can't wait to feel all of that together. But to get back to Hawkeye's daughter, in the comics, there is a girl by the name of Kate Bishop who actually becomes Hawkeye after Hawkeye is dead. Yay, comics.
Yay, comics.
He comes back, and there are actually two Hawkeyes running around for a while. They actually have an incredible comic book line written by Matt Fraction, one of my favorite writers. They explore how they can both exist in this universe kind of thing. I think they're setting up Hawkeye's actual daughter in the Marvel Comics universe to be the next Hawkeye.
Okay, I can see that happen. I mean, I'm about it.
He calls her Hawkeye.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, they're like, how much more can we point to this? But yeah, and with that said too, like his character, I love the amount of acting he did too, and how much amount like screen time and that whole arc of his. I think it's my favorite Hawkeye moments in this movie for sure, which also kind of, I know we're kind of jumping around here.
Oh, totally.
Something I really want to bring up is favorite hairdos, favorite hairstyles, and I love that fucking faux hawk mohawk that he was rocking. I love that like kind of 80s grunge, like Sex Pistols with like the black t-shirt, this fucking sleeve, like.
He went full Ronin. It was really rad. And that's exactly
Black Widow's hair
too.
Sorry, I just really wanted to talk about. Sorry, go ahead.
Before you get into that, I just want to say that is exactly out of the comics. When Hawkeye dies, and he comes back into the universe. He comes back as this character Ronin, and people don't even know it's him until he unveils him that. Oh, it's Ronin. But yeah, Black Widow's hair when she was growing it out.
Right, and she kind of went between the blonde and the red. I know, sorry, we're talking about hair, but like it's a big changes the character's look and feel. I mean, Captain Marvel's haircut.
I loved Captain Marvel's haircut. Because that is more on point with the character. And now that she's got the military cut there, I'm just gonna say it. The Holy Trinity of the Avengers is Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. It always has been, always will be. It's always the ones that are always talked about from the beginning of time. That's the Holy Trinity. Now we're not gonna have that. Iron Man dead, Cap is an old guy, and Thor is on his he's
going on cleanse.
He's going on an eat, pray, love across the universe, which I read, which I thought was great. But we're gonna get a new Holy Trinity, which I believe is gonna be Falcon, Cap.
Okay.
Doctor Strange, and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, disappointed with the lack of Doctor Strange. I wanted more Strange.
Me too. I wanted more Strange. I wanted more all of the characters.
Yeah, I know. It's hard when you have so many.
I got it. I do want to mention, I saw on Twitch in the comments here, you asked, what if they had waited to add the snap at the beginning of Endgame instead of the end of Infinity War, would it have changed the movie? And I think it would have not only changed the movie, it would have cheapened everything.
Yes.
Because we wouldn't have had the same stakes at Infinity War, and Endgame would have felt rushed. We would have been like, oh shit, everybody's dusted. Oh shit, now we're in a time zone.
And now we're going to fix it.
Now we're going in the back, and it just would have, I think it would have 100% made everything rush. I think they made the best choice ever to do it in Infinity War and not in Endgame.
I love the hype around it too. Like I saw Snapchat did a really cool thing. They had the Snap Ghost, and they were promoting Endgame, and they had it of Dust, the ghost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's good marketing.
Yeah, it's really...
So, like, the hype around it, the talk about it.
Google. Did you Google Thanos before the...
Oh, no. What did they do?
That was amazing. If you Google Thanos, I don't know if it still happens, but if you Google Thanos the day the movie came out, next to his Wikipedia box that comes up, was the Infinity Gauntlet. And if you click it, it snaps its fingers, and half of Google disappears in an animatic. It's amazing.
That's fucking
cool. And then
cool.
you click it again, it glows green like the time stone, and it brings them all back. Amazing. I played with it probably up for an hour. It was absolutely amazing. It is still there, so Twitch is telling me,
cool.
so
Good.
Go check that out. I did want to mention, I really liked, with the time stuff, even though it was convoluted, I loved the sequence where the Avengers were all kind of eating and working out, okay, where's this stone at this time frame? Where's this stone at this time frame? My favorite sequence was when it was Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Hulk, like kind of all laying around
Yeah, she has like her hoodie on.
And like they realized, oh shit, if we go to New York in 2012, there literally will be three stones in that same vicinity, and that's our best bet. And fun fact about coffee. If you notice on that table, there's a Chemex on the table during that scene, which is rad. So I thought that was pretty rad.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that. Going back to 2012. First and foremost, did you think that where they went, all of the backwards time travel that they did you think that it was all necessary? Do you think they should have went to different movies? Do you think...
No, I liked how it played out. I loved, I think, of all those time traveling that did occur, I think my favorite was the Captain.
Fight. Oh my God.
So good.
So good. Although, you want to talk about screwing up timelines.
Right.
He tells him that Bucky's alive.
Yeah.
That screws up the timeline. He touches him with the scepter.
Which I don't how do you know that was going to happen? That it wasn't going to just like, fucking kill him?
Because didn't we know that when Loki touched somebody with the scepter, it would change them to be in his control?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? So how did it put him to sleep?
Mm-hmm. No, it's like, I don't know.
Didn't kind of work for me.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that was the right... Are you happy with where they went in those timelines?
I am. I would have liked a little bit more. I don't know. Like, it was just Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor 2.
Yeah.
Is basically where we went in those time frames, which is good. But, it would have been cool to maybe see, and again, why? But it would have been cool maybe to see, like, Cap 1, like
sure.
try to get the Tesseract there.
Right.
I don't know. I did like it though.
I really like the scene with Bruce Banner on the roof with the Ancient One.
Yep.
I thought that was well done. I really liked that there was that really good kind of human moment again of these like, if you do this, I'm not going to sacrifice my timeline. And then Bruce, kind of does that thing where he pulls the stone and puts it back in.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good kind of, hey, guys, if you haven't been paying the fuck attention, here, we're going to literally, here's a diagram.
Yeah.
Pay attention. This is how this works. And I thought that was good. I like, it's two characters. Who would have thought they would ever have a scene together? So I was really happy about that.
And I got to say, Loki escaping.
Oh, made me so happy. Like, legit, I wasn't even angry about it.
I really hope, we know now that Disney Plus, the new streaming service that comes out in November, is giving us 4 Marvel limited series. Mm-hmm. One of them is Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is going to definitely deal with the responsibility of being the new Captain America.
Okay, yeah.
One of them is Black Widow and Scarlet Witch and Vision. And that's going to be set in the 50s, which I don't understand.
Oh, I don't understand.
Another one is going to be Hawkeye's series. So I think that's going to be him dealing with getting away from Ronin and coming back to being a hero.
Being a dad.
And the fourth one
Same thing.
is going to be a Loki series. And I'm hoping that series stems right from that moment because Loki's dead in the timeline we know now. Yeah. But that Loki escaped.
Right.
And that timeline is broken because of all of that. So I think that'd be cool if we get like kind of like a time jumping universe jumping Loki, where he's creating mischief wherever he goes. Because it is what's the greatest part about all of these series is it's the actual actors and actresses portraying their actual characters. So we are getting Tom Hiddleston in the series.
Oh, okay.
So it's not
that makes.
Like
I didn't know that.
TV,
good.
TV
that makes
movie
because I was very hesitant.
Yeah.
With that said, in that scene too, when he grabs the Tesseract, one of my favorite lines, and it's such a dumb one, but when the Hulk had to take the stairs, and he's just like stairs. But actually, okay, so I have a question. I'm sorry, we're gonna get really deep into timey-wimey shit.
Good.
So there's that moment when Robert Redford's like trying to take the case in the original timeline. Does that moment happen, and we just don't see it?
Right. Does it?
It has to, right?
No, I mean...
Because what happens to the Tesseract after they win New York?
Thor takes it back to Asgard because him and Loki hold each side of it and they turn it and it brings them back to Asgard. And then it's there until Loki takes it out of the place at the end of Ragnarok.
Oh, right.
So that's where it is at that point. But it also opened up the ability for them to go back to the 1970s army base. And it also, that was our clear rule of time. There really were no rules of time travel in this movie, other than the fact that we now know that these characters, Cap and Tony, can go back to 2012, screw up that timeline, which is in our past, and then immediately jump from that screwed up timeline into another past.
Right.
So therefore, even though you're screwing with lines, you're basically, like the article said, making a divergent in these lines. And you can continually go backwards and keep screwing things up is basically what they did.
Also, my other great line from that, when they have the jump from when they fuck everything up in 2012 and they're by that car.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man gets out and he fucking closes the door and he goes, "You were never about the time heist." I love, so well delivered. Like, he was pissed off. And, like, that's just it. Like, that's when you really see, Paul Rudd get, like, angry. He's like, we had a plan, we had something to do, and it's done. And I think that was one of those few, like, really clearly defined serious moments of Ant-Man where he's not just delivering the punchline, not doing the alley-oop to set up for a joke. And I've like, but then at the same time, it was a joke. Yeah. You were never about the time heist.
Yeah, and it was good. The 70s was good. Obviously, the most poignant thing about the 70s was Tony getting to talk to his dad. And we saw that in Civil War when he did the symposium with the technology where he went back in time and showed the last time he ever saw his dad and mom before they were killed.
Right, yeah.
And how he's like, that's what I wish I had said, but I never got the chance to, And it's like he did get to have that final moment with him. That was really poignant. Cap seeing Peggy for the first time, which I think put into his brain, what if I use this?
Right.
And did you guys think it was crazy that Cap actually took 4 vials of Pym particles?
Right. So I didn't think, I did think that. And I thought maybe he was like, oh, we fucked up once. We'll probably fuck up another timeline.
I think he was already had it in his brain. He's like, I'm not going to tell everybody that I took this amount.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back.
I didn't see, like, you and I talked about that, and I didn't think, oh, that's why he did it.
Yeah.
Because, again, we see that he's moving away from being this, like, it was a self-interested move, and it's something that, the first Cap might not have done. He wouldn't have taken that so he could be with the love of his life. He would have taken it, to help the team, not the self. But it's all, all for good purposes.
Big takeaway from that, too. Not only do we see Agent Carter, which we have seen in the movies, we also saw Jarvis.
Yes,
with
love
Howard
that.
Stark from the Agent Carter TV series, which finally, for the first time ever, links the TV properties and the movie properties. And I think that's great.
Yeah, it was very well done.
I was very sad that we didn't get Agent Coulson in this movie.
Yeah, I was too, man.
I was very sad that we didn't get, any of the street level characters like Daredevil or Punisher.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Yeah.
Where do you put him in?
Just like walking down the road.
Yeah. And you did bring up a good point on Twitch over there, Flanagan. We do have Hank Pym back at the end, so there are more Pym particles taken. So therefore, again, the ones that Cap took could literally be ones that he just had in his back pocket.
Right.
And that's why he was able to come to the point where he did at the end. I don't know.
Movie magic with Michael Douglas in that scene too. Looking
Again,
baller AF. Yeah.
The de-aging stuff is done incredible, and that was a little fun scene too. The other stuff that was timey-wimey was definitely the 2014 space, all of that. And that was probably the least intrusive time jump. It was Nebula and War Machine going and knocking out Peter Quill in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was hilarious. And then taking the Power Stone there.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah, so he's just an idiot. He's a dumb Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, I didn't even thought of that.
No, I think that's what he said.
Oh.
But
oh yeah, and then that scene when they get the
you know,
like, there's gonna be booby traps.
So
I love that.
So that was great, but then obviously that also was the most intrusive time jump because Nebula linked to her past self, and that's how Thanos
same Wi-Fi
knew, and all that stuff. And then, but it was also great seeing Gamora show up again. And in my theater, there was a little girl. She must have been like 5 or 6 years old. And when Gamora came on screen in the reveal in the past there with Thanos, she just, the movie theater's silent listening to the movie. And you just hear this little girl go, Gamora! And everybody went, "Aw!" It was just adorable.
That's so cute.
So that was really cool. And then obviously, like we had already talked about, we got Hawkeye and Black Widow going to get the Soul Stone, which it was already explained that whoever was going to go get the Soul Stone had to go sacrifice themselves.
Right.
So they already knew that. Nebula told them that, yet it was a surprise. That just seemed a little weird. Although I was very, very excited to see Red Skull back in the movies because I love Red Skull and I love Ross Marquand. Ross Marquand is amazing. He is now the Red Skull, and let's all petition to make more movies with Red Skull because he's a great villain.
Didn't know you were going to go on that little tirade.
Look.
Love it. Keep going.
The
Give me
thing
more.
is that there are great villains, and then there are villains that are your nemesis. You know, Spider-Man has Green Goblin.
Sure.
You know, Batman has the Joker. These people that you defeat, but you never defeat.
Okay.
And I'm glad that the Red Skull is still out there because he's such an iconic villain, especially not only to Captain America, but the Avengers and the Marvel universe on a whole. He's even There was a line, this will blow your mind. There was a line in the comics where when Professor X died, Red Skull dug up his body, took out his brain, and put Professor X's brain in his own brain and gained Professor X's mental abilities. And there was this crazy mental mutant Red Skull running around, which again, comic books, everybody. Go read comic books. But that's how crazy of a villain this is.
Right.
I want to see more Red Skull. I want to see more Red Skull. So much. Because I love Ross. But anyway, the final timey-wimey thing was Asgard. Thor 2. Out of everything that happened there, it was just great to see Renee Russo again.
Yeah, she definitely was.
I love Thor's mom.
What did you feel about Thor as a whole in a character? Because
Fat Thor.
That was just Fat Thor.
Again, PTSD. I think it's great.
But then it was a joke.
It was a joke.
Like, but like, I don't know, go ahead.
I just think that we're dealing with someone who he felt like he was indestructible forever. He felt like he was this golden god. And we saw that in Thor 1. When Odin banished him to Earth, it was just like, you're not worthy anymore. You're going to go live on Earth and be immortal for a little bit, you know? Like, to kind of knock him down a peg. And we get that back with him at this point. And I think it was a good choice. Although, you're right, I do agree, they played to the joke a little bit too much.
Yeah, that was it. But again, but then that scene though, when he is in Asgard, then that's when like, yeah, know what? I am going through this, and that hype, the pep talk that his mother gives, it's not even a pep talk. It's just, it was just so well. She has some beautiful lines in there, and they were all so well delivered that's when I'm like, yeah, you're fucking Thor, and you know you're who you are, and that's why when he does do the handoff at the end, I thought, yes. And also I kind of wanted to see like a fun little, like, I'm the king and now you're the king, and like some kind of cool magic there. But just like a verbal contract's cool too.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man.
I was sad.
We're not even,
I was sad no Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
I enjoy Anthony Hopkins as Odin. We could have gotten even just the tiniest scene with him and we didn't. I do like the pairing of Thor and Rocket. I love that.
That wasn't, I think originally it was supposed to be Thor and Iron Man. We're supposed to go, and Iron Man was supposed to have a fight scene with an important character that I can't name right now.
Oh, wow.
I read somewhere deep in the web. But yeah, I do. Yeah, more Thor and Rocket.
Oh, I do want to bring this up because I saw this on Twitch now too. You're right, Flanagan. And it's good to know that in the future, with half the world missing, people are still playing Fortnite and are still jerks. 2023, and we get to see Korg and Meek playing Fortnite. That was hilarious. And Korg forever.
Korg forever.
I'm so glad that him and Meek made it out okay.
We actually don't talk about that?
Yeah. It was really, really, really funny. But again, you want to talk about screwing up a timeline. Thor literally takes Mjolnir away from that timeline. So that screwed up everything.
Yeah.
Like everything. And here's a timey-wimey thought, a very Doctor Who-y type thing.
Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey.
In that time frame, So Thor takes Mjolnir from that timeline and brings it into the future of a different timeline. If the Thor from that original timeline were to put out his hand and try to get the hammer, would the hammer go through space and time to get to him?
No.
Does it have that power?
It stops existing because it moves.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know how that can happen.
Movie magic, man. Just let it be.
Huge questions though, right, guys? From all this stuff, like with Cap delivering all those stones, does it even fix everything? Does it fix, like I mentioned before, does it fix Black Widow dying? How does Gamora? Why is Gamora? What is Gamora? But seriously, how is she still existing in this time frame? How does that possible? And because like Peter's looking for her and searching at the end there.
Right. If Black Widow
dust.
Well, she didn't dust. Well, we don't know. We don't know if she didn't dust.
I don't think she dusted.
I don't think she did. They don't.
Out.
Yeah, exactly.
She kicked Peter in the balls and left.
Yeah, she's at this point. She's 5 years ago. Gamora, who doesn't know who the fuck Peter is, doesn't know who she is. Like, she's not that character. She hadn't gone to prison yet.
Right.
She hasn't had any of those changes. She's still very much, on Thanos' side, except for, where she does see Nebula's visions of the future and decides like that was a turning point for her. But yeah,
But that timeline doesn't have a Gamora anymore, so Thanos can't sacrifice her to get the Soul Stone and put all these events in motion. Timey-wimey bullshit.
We gotta let it go sometimes.
Oh my God. And then the last little bit of timey-wimey stuff is Cap on the bench there, the old Cap on the bench. To which I said, leaving the movie, I was like, that doesn't make sense from a character standpoint. We know that Cap would do anything. And in the comics, Cap is even talked about because obviously Cap came in the 60s in the comic books.
Yeah.
But they've retconned that to make it work in our timeline.
Okay.
So he was unfrozen, let's say, in the 80s or the 90s, like in comic books today. He's said before that he wishes he never got frozen in the ice because he would have volunteered for the space race. He would have been the astronaut, instead of risking other people's lives. He's the super soldier. He could do that. He would have volunteered for front lines of Vietnam. He would have been there for Desert Storm. He would have done these different things. And you mean to tell me that he lived through all that stuff and just sat there with Peggy just as her husband?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Right? But the internet has told me that what if he stole those Pym particles and that old Cap on the bench is one that actually is from an even future timeline that went backward to this timeline to meet them there.
Okay.
Rather than wait through it all.
Gotcha.
Because the timeline where he shows up and marries Agent Carter,
right?
That timeline is now screwed.
Gotcha.
Because it's a whole different thing. In Winter Soldier, when Cap goes to the museum and learns about Bucky and himself and Winter Soldier, and Cap, he learns about S.H.I.E.L.D. and how Agent Carter started S.H.I.E.L.D., and it says that she got married in 1950 to an unnamed man. Was it himself? Was it himself? But when she sees him as an older lady...
Can we also talk about that, though, real quick? In the trailer, there's a scene with Captain America carrying a coffin.
That's from Civil War.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's from Civil War, because that was because right after that scene is when Black Widow comes up to him and is like, Tony wants us all to sign the Sokovia Accords. What are you going to do? And he was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
All right, never mind. I have nothing to say to that.
There is a lot to unpack. And before we get into the very end of here, I just wanted to run down some comic book references because I am a comic book nerd. And for those of you who might not be versed on the comic books, I wanted to just give you a couple of my favorite moments that were directly from the pages of comics.
I have a question that comic or movie can answer. What is Thanos' blade made out of? Because we don't know because it fucked up Captain America's shield.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess some sort of space age vibranium.
Yeah.
Because vibranium can kill vibranium or can break vibranium. So vibranium is space age iron. It fell to Earth and hit Africa and that's why Wakanda has it all. So technically speaking, it could even be vibranium.
Right.
I don't think we've been told.
We kind of talked about, me and my friends, like what Iron Man's claws are made of. Could possibly be what
Iron Man doesn't have claws.
No, he doesn't. I'm by Iron Man, I mean Wolverine.
Snick.
Oh my God.
Adamantium. It could be adamantium. Now that is Earth-based, origin for that metal. But yeah, I don't know. In the comics, fun fact.
Tell me.
In the comics, Captain America's original shield is made from a blend of vibranium and adamantium.
Oh, really?
The first time that him and Wolverine have a fight, Wolverine goes to slash at his shield, and both his claws and the shield spark.
Okay, very cool.
Captain America Annual number 11, or maybe number 8.
All right, give me more good comic books.
So my favorite scene from the movie is literally when Cap is beaten down, his shield is broken, and he grits his bloody teeth, and he stands up, and he straps the part of his shield to, I'm literally tearing up just talking about this, to his arm. My favorite scene of this movie, because it is the embodiment of Captain America.
Right.
You move. I'm not going to move. You move. I will stand up for what's right, even in the face of everything. And all of Thanos' army is there, and he knows this is it. He's about to die.
Right.
There's nothing left. And this is directly from Jim Starlin's Infinity Gauntlet run.
Oh, okay.
And I have it right here. This is the actual pages right here. This is him after all the Avengers have been defeated, striding up to Thanos right there. And he looks him dead in the eye, and he says, as long as one man stands against you, Thanos, you'll never be able to claim victory. Now, after that moment, a lot of stuff happens. As you can see, Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock show up, who are two characters that aren't even in the MCU at this point. So a lot of stuff happens, but it is a very poignant moment in there because Thanos thinks he won. He thinks that everything is going to be defeated, and Captain America is the last one to stand to him. So when he did that, I mean, granted, the entire theater erupted when Cap picked up the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
We all got off on our feet and just applauded. It was amazing to be able to see that.
I knew it.
To see, it was so amazing because it's such an incredible sequence, and that also is directly from the comics. Cap has I meant to bring up his shield breaking. Cap's shield did break. This is also from Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay.
Yep, broke right in half, and that was a huge point. Obviously, again, like, oh my gosh, his iconic weapon is broken.
Yeah.
What do we do?
If you lose this again, I'm keeping it.
If you lose this again, I'm keeping it. But Cap,
Dad Iron Man.
Cap holding the hammer has actually happened twice. Once on the left there in 1988. It was from a line when Captain America wasn't Captain America anymore. He was a character called the Captain.
The Captain.
And he picked up the hammer. And then just in 2011, he actually got to pick up the hammer again in an incredible series called Fear Itself. And he's not the only one that has held the hammer before. In comics, Magneto's held it. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman's character, actually became Thor for a while and held the hammer. And
Magneto, though.
Across the aisle, Wonder Woman, of course, is worthy enough to hold the hammer and held it in the iconic 90s series DC vs. Marvel, written by our good friend Ron Mars, who actually writes our comic book as well.
Hells yeah, he does.
And it's pretty rad. So, that was an incredible scene. Also, I noticed that you guys have been saying this in the comments, and I wanted to bring it up too. This scene in the elevator when Cap leans over and says, "Hail Hydra." So great. So great, and directly from the comics. This was just a few years ago. It was announced that he was mind controlled by the Red Skull, and he had always been Hydra and comics stuff, but he that was a cool little nod.
Smart, so smooth.
And I loved that elevator scene too because it was the same beat
shot for shot
as Winter Soldier. I almost, instead of him saying Hail Hydra, I thought he was going to be like, now before we get started, does anybody want to get out? I thought it was just going to be a fight again, but that was so much better for him to be able to just be like, Hail Hydra.
Yep.
Oh, so good. Another scene directly from the comics, but not this comic. It was actually from Secret Wars number 4. The cover of that book is Hulk holding up a mountain because the Beyonder throws a mountain on top of everybody, and Hulk literally has to hold it up. And then we saw that exact sequence play out when Avengers compound got destroyed.
When they were like, "Oh, yo, can we please talk about that though?" Because it was such a good moment.
I thought Ant-Man was dead.
What? You thought Ant-Man was dead?
Literally, Ant-Man walks to the window and goes, "Hey guys, I think we did it," and then got blown up by a
one breath.
torpedo.
One breath.
I was like, he's dead.
That is just like cinematography freaking gold. Where
crazy.
We finally, the whole movie, it's we're 2 1/4 in at this point.
Yeah.
And we did it. We won. Everyone's back. I think we did it. And how quickly the Avengers headquarters just goes down, tumbling. It's not a slow, little piece. It's like, no, fucking Thanos is here and he destroys the headquarters so quickly and so completely. I was like, I literally went, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how quickly the headquarters went down.
It was crazy. And then that brings up, all of the Avengers again fighting into this end fight, which I thought was paced incredible.
Yeah, I liked it. Yep.
For as much going on, as many characters, as many things happening,
Right.
I thought it was incredible. And I do want to mention, I don't have anything. I do want to mention that, again, about the Holy Trinity. That was amazing. It was Thor, Iron Man, and Cap fighting Thanos to kick it all off. And that was such a hark back to the original. This is a poster from the movie, actually, but it was a harken back to the original Avengers where they all fought in Central Park.
Right,
First time they met each other.
Yep.
And it was just so rad to see all of that happen. And then, that final sequence, Spider-Man showing up and doing all of his Spider-Man things.
Yeah, let's talk about, he had such a good, when everyone came back, when all Rwanda came back, when you had all of Doctor Strange's guys coming back, and then Peter Parker had that nice everyone had a good still frame.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of the battle was when Peter Parker has, the gauntlet, and he has all his legs going everywhere, and he's rolling.
Kill mode.
Kill mode. He's like, I got this. I don't got this.
Yeah.
So then Captain realizes that, and he goes, Queen, what's up? And he throws his shield like a frisbee, and then Spider-Man shoots out his web, and it just slings him out of there.
Yeah, the hammer does.
So flipping cool.
So freaking cool.
Oh yeah, it was the hammer. I'm sorry, it wasn't the shield.
Really poignant moment about that too. In the books, Captain Marvel and Spider-Man are very good friends.
Yeah,
They've worked a lot together. They team up a lot together, and they respect each other. Peter Parker and Carol Danvers respect each other. And they respect each other because of the people they are, not the superheroes they are. And it's been dealt with in the comics a lot. So when he meets her and he introduces himself as Peter Parker, that's a very big nod to the comics and a very poignant moment.
Gotcha.
Because it's not, he could have very easily been like, I'm Spider-Man.
Right.
But he made that choice and said, I'm Peter Parker. And she goes, what's up, Peter Parker? Do you have something for me? And it's that was really, really cool.
Do you think there was any hesitation in that I guess maybe he already saw her fighting on the side of good, so he knew there was good. I guess, do you think he was looking for any type of approval, like a nod from Iron Man? Give her the fucking gauntlet.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It was a great sequence of the hot potato as it went through everything. I loved that so much.
Yeah.
Did anybody catch Howard the Duck? Did you catch Howard the Duck?
No.
Howard the Duck came in right off of I believe the left side of the Wasp when everybody was Doctor Stranging portaling the way in. Blink and you miss it. Howard the Duck was there as well. So it's just this random character just keeps popping up. It was just ridiculous. I got a question on Twitch here.
Yeah.
What did we think of Professor Hulk? What'd you think of that?
I'm pro Professor Hulk. I think, we want to see these characters achieve. We want to see them be happy, and the fact that we get the best of both worlds. I like the diner scene.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that was well done. What do you think? Yeah.
My thing is I love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a great actor.
Don't ruffle the buffalo.
I think he's a great actor, and I'll tell you a really short story. In 2011, I was at New York Comic Con. It was the second time I was ever at New York Comic Con with my soon-to-be wife and a bunch of our friends, and we sat in on the Avengers panel in the main hall, okay? And they had announced that Avengers was happening that June in San Diego, and they had announced that it was going to happen, but they didn't have any footage to show. They didn't really do anything. The big reveal was at this panel, and we all sat there, and they brought out everybody. Everybody came out, including Kevin Feige, and then they were like, we want to introduce you to somebody, because they hadn't announced it. And they said, we're going to introduce you to our new Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. And they walked him out on stage. I've never heard the hall that loud, that deafening. And then he sat down after we all applauded and everything, and they said, but we have to show you for real what we mean. And they dimmed the lights, and this was 2011. They showed us the scene where Black Widow goes to Calcutta to recruit him in Avengers and pulls the gun on him. They showed us that entire sequence then, and I got goosebumps. It was amazing. So to end this, Professor Hulk is the best of both worlds because we get this awesome superhero character, but it is inherently Mark Ruffalo. It's not Mark Ruffalo trying to do a Hulk voice.
That's very well said, yeah.
It's him in the motion capture suit, being a CGI version of himself, and I really like that we get that like the best of both worlds. Kind of like the way he said it, like I was fighting it for so long. Why not just embrace it?
Right.
I thought that was cool. I do want to just bring up two last little things here.
Plenty of crazy notes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we got more to talk about, but I just want to bring up Falcon Cap is directly from the comic books.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
Hell
that
yeah.
he's going to be the new Captain America again. Talking actors, I love Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, he's great.
I cannot wait to see him in this new Disney Plus series, and then into more with hopefully wielding the shield. That'll be really rad. And the biggest reveal that happened during the fight was when all the women banded together.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
When they all stood together with Peter and they were like, we got this, and just went and just destroyed everybody. That is directly out of the comics.
I'm like, yeah, why are we calling this a reveal?
This is the comic called A-Force that came out in 2015, right out of the then Secret Wars. And as you can see, it's a ton of characters that do not exist yet in the Marvel Comics universe.
Oh, okay.
But it was based on the idea of let's put all of these awesome women together, ruling their own team.
Hell yeah.
So all those girls that got together, Shuri, Valkyrie, Rescue,
Witch, yeah.
okay, Scarlet Witch,
Scarlet Witch.
Nebula, even Gamora was in on
Yeah.
that. Get them all together.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make that movie.
And
I'm 100% down. Captain
that's
Marvel.
what I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit. Hell yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all about it. I mean, the fan service that it does. The shout out to that. I love that it wasn't forced, and I think it was. Do you think it was organic? I mean, that's my thing. They did it. They did it for a purpose.
Yeah.
They did this for a reason. Is it to tease this out?
I think so. I think that they.
I think it was
know,
done well.
I think they now know, and I think this is the problem with releasing the Captain Marvel the way they did. They didn't understand the character they had with this movie. They shot this movie before they shot Captain Marvel, and it was way before Captain Marvel ever came out and was successful. So I think that's why. One of my biggest gripes about this movie is that Captain Marvel shows up at the very end.
And they flip and tease that out. Like, she's going to be a part of it. She's going to be a leader.
She should have been there way earlier. They should have waited for her, even though she was off-world. Right. She's way too powerful to just show up at the very end. But from a writing standpoint, what if her movie tanked and nobody liked the character? Then at least she's still in the movie and nobody's that sad.
Right.
So I think they were playing it really close to the cuff. But I think now, with the success of Captain Marvel and also the success of Wonder Woman and these films, that it is 100% that we all knew, nerds all knew, that a strong female character can carry a
confident
movie.
woman needs to fucking do this. Yeah,
we all knew this, but now Hollywood knows this. I think that was Marvel and Disney banding all these women together in that one little moment to be like, hey, check this, try this on.
Here we go.
Try this on for size.
I'm excited about.
What do you think about this?
Ooh.
I think would be an incredible movie.
I think it would perform so well.
Again, super sad Black Widow wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. One of the greatest scenes too, obviously, speaking on Avengers, was when everybody comes through the Doctor Strange portals and everybody's standing there right after Cap was literally just going to sacrifice himself. He just, in the most Captain America way, Avengers assemble. And it was just like, I almost cried at that moment. Like, there was multiple times, and I'm not ashamed to say that I cried during this movie.
Yep.
But man, that beat, the way that he took a breath and just gritted his teeth and said assemble.
It was so well done. Chris Evans.
Do you feel vindicated from Endgame? Do you feel like you got everything you wanted out of this movie? Do you think they left anything?
No. I think they closed a lot of their loops. I think they, we could see the arc of a lot of characters come to fruition. No. I'm happy with how everything ended. I'm happy where Iron Man left his story. Maybe want a little bit more from Strange, because I always think he's a fun character to have around.
I can't wait for that sequel.
And I want to see more of him with the Avengers.
Yeah.
And I think that's just it. It's just kind of what I said earlier, when they had the Ancient One and the Hulk. It's like when we have these weird pairings, I love that. I love, because how would the Hulk talk to somebody like that? What about you? Do you feel
my only
besides the timey-wimey thing, which I realized you were that hung up on?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But my only concern about this movie is that there were two very important, strong characters that were 100% underutilized. And when you have a movie of this many characters, I understand why that is. But we were given the scene where Black Widow in the future is dealing with the remnants of everybody who's left, and she's talking with everybody, and Okoye and Captain Marvel are working together for her, and yet were never utilized for this big plan, and both of them are powerful characters. I know that they had nothing to do with past selves, but they should have been brought into the fold.
I was pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, they should have been utilized. She
had like what, 3 scenes? She was like a hologram and that was it?
Yeah.
Like what the hell is she doing? Like I totally agree on that. And
I don't know.
Like with the success of Black Panther, with the success of these characters, like why do we not stand them? Sorry, who was the other character that you felt like?
Okoye and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought the movie was near perfection. It was probably the most comic book movie we've ever experienced.
Really?
It was a true comic book experience where even the timey-wimey stuff that doesn't make sense, that's the part of a comic book.
Right.
You know, there's so many things that happen in a comic book and your brain just goes, it's because it's a comic book. That's why that happened, you know, like it's comic book logic. And it was really cool to see all that play out on the screen. Now we are done. The Infinity Saga is done. The bookend is Far From Home, Spider-Man 2, which comes out this June, which I'm very, very excited about. That's going to kind of button up the final questions of, which I really don't understand, 5 years in the future. Everybody who got dusted but is back is now back at
high school.
I'd be like, the last thing I'm doing is going to high school. Everybody should become a garbage man because it looked like the earth was in dire straits. Like everybody should immediately become a garbage man and start cleaning up.
What was I going to say? So you think when he found his best friend, though, when Peter Parker was in high school and he saw
Ned Leeds, yeah.
Ned
Leeds is his best friend, yeah.
Right. That actor who played him, oh my God. Like, you don't even see him. There's not a close-up. It's like, pretty far. And he is a phenomenal, just starts, like, the emotion on his face about seeing his best friend. So I think Ned was probably Ash, too.
Oh, yeah. No, I think they all were.
If they're in high school.
Nobody aged.
Right.
They're all the same age, so everybody was dusted.
Yeah.
But we're going to get how they deal with that in Far From Home. And it was just announced today, actually, Zendaya, who plays MJ in the Spider-Man universe, tweeted after seeing Endgame how excited she is for everybody to see Far From Home because of ... what she knows.
Oh, all right.
So we finally are going to get some answers, and this will be the bookend for it. But then moving out of that, again, the Marvel the Marvel Cinematic Universe is now in the future. It's in 2023. And the first movies of Phase 4 that have been announced are Black Widow's Origin, which is a prequel, starts in 2006.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get some timey-wimey stuff there. Maybe we'll get Black Widow back. Who knows? We'll find out. We'll all find out together. And then we're getting the movie The Eternals, which is also a prequel. It's about omnipotent beings, immortals, that in the comics run with the Avengers. There is a very famous comic book character named Circe. Not Game of Thrones, everybody, but Circe. And she is this immortal witch-type character that runs with the Avengers a lot. And I believe that is who Angelina Jolie will be playing in the movie.
Oh, damn, Angie, you getting in on this?
So
that's exciting.
These two movies are going to set up Phase 4. And if we know anything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we know that they're going to start sowing the seeds for whatever the next Endgame is going to be 10 more years down into the future. Because Captain America, the first Avenger, brought us the Tesseract.
Right, yep.
Iron Man 1 brought us the Avengers Initiative. Everything was set in motion with these original movies, so that means we're going to get that with these next movies. Now, the other ones, obviously, that aren't slated for dates, but we know that are coming out. Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which will hopefully be Ask Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because Thor and all the Guardians
was very happy about that line.
And announced, again, created by Jim Starlin, we are getting a Shang-Chi movie.
Oh, really?
Now, Shang-Chi was a comic book character created in the 70s by Jim because they wanted to get the rights to a different character and couldn't get it, so they created their own martial arts character. This was, again, during the 70s was when Bruce Lee was very big, and martial arts was everything. It was the new pop culture, so they wanted to get in on this. And Shang-Chi is not just a black belt. He has some crazy superpowers, and he's also incredibly good at karate and all this other stuff. He's a great character, and they've talked, not only is this movie going to happen, but it's going to be a full Asian cast.
Nice.
And that's going to be amazing because movies like Crazy Rich Asians have shown how lucrative that can be. So we're going to get
original
incredible stuff. The not talked about thing that we're obviously going to see is the Disney Fox merger. So now we have the rights to X-Men. We have the rights to Fantastic Four. We have the rights to Deadpool. Mm-hmm. All of these characters will be coming in within Phase 4 and with Phase 5. And I'm very excited for all of that because we might have even gotten a tease of that during Endgame.
Tell me more.
When Okoye says to Black Widow that they're dealing with a earthquake under the water off the coast of Wakanda, she said, well, what are we doing about that? She's like, we're not doing anything because it's under the water. Mm-hmm. That could have been a very subtle nod to Namor and Atlantis, who is this version Aquaman, not Jason Momoa.
Right.
But it's Marvel Comics universe. There is a character named Namor who is the leader of Atlantis. And he is also, up until recently, he's owned by both the X-Men property and the Fantastic Four property. So we might be getting that. It might be really cool.
I can stand behind that. I'd be excited. I'd pay money to see that.
I'm very excited, guys. I hope you guys are too. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. As a lifelong comic book nerd, I never, ever imagined I would see not only some of my favorite superheroes on the big screen like Captain America, but the most obscure B-list characters like Gamora and Iron Man and the Winter Soldier like come to life on the screen is incredible and in an amazing way. Not a throwaway, not a like let's reboot it after 2 years. They put their due diligence in, they put their homework in, and I can only commend Marvel Studios and Disney for creating such an incredible experience. This is our Star Wars. We will be telling people for years to come, I remember seeing Avengers Endgame in theaters because I remember everything that led up to it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I thank you guys all for sticking around with our nerdy talk here through the better part of an hour today as we recapped Avengers Endgame. I really enjoy doing this Talking Death series on Twitch. We will continue to do this. Make sure you tune in every single Monday for the last 3 Mondays, for the last 3 episodes of Game of Thrones as we recap our the final season of Game of Thrones. And I'm telling you, I'm going to keep this show going. We're going to recap big movies that, we really enjoy here at Death Wish, on also television shows. I know Stranger Things is coming out in July.
I can't wait.
We're going to definitely do that one.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other fun stuff. Like I said, we're going to be creating a lot of content on this platform. And all of the content we already create, follow Death Wish Coffee on all social media. Subscribe to us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to our blog.
Hell yeah.
Do all the things. And make mine Marvel because Marvel's the best.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.